Reactors and external components are going to take your Descendants to the next level. And honestly, they're required. Now, we've had a heavy emphasis on modules, which rightfully so. Starting out this game, you need to get your modules together to some degree. But ultimately, you're going to come to find that a lot of your final build is going to be incorporating not only the reactors that you have equipped, but you're also going to be considering what external components you have equipped as well. And this is going to be a huge part of the process. And I would even argue the other half that is going to be necessary for you to pull the full potential out of your character. So we're going to be starting off with the reactor. First things first, right? What exactly is this reactor doing? Now, the reactor has a couple of different things that it's increasing. Your skill power, it's going to be giving you sub-attack power, which is going to be for like your melee. Like I think for those that's maybe using the grapple, it's like the super punch you do. But all in all, this is also going to be giving you more value and in all honesty, equivalent value to even some of your modules when you're getting gold stats, right? So it's actually kind of insane how reactors can be impactful as well as external components, and we're going to talk about that, right? So first thing, okay, what exactly is required for you to get the most out of a reactor? Number one, it needs to be the right attribute. So you need to match the attribute with every single character that you're equipping a reactor with. That's number one. Now, the other thing with that is that you also need to meet the requirement of the mounted weapon. Now, how exactly does the mounted weapon proc? The mounted weapon actually is going to be procced when you swap the weapon or have it in your hand in combat. Okay, so that's when you'll actually activate it. Now, the thing about this and why this is important is that if you are using the mounted weapon, you get 160% skill power, right? Now, if you don't, you are going to be at 100%, right? Now, the thing is that after you do the math, it's technically about like 80% like more damage essentially that you just kind of miss out on. Like that's really what it is, right? And then when you're looking at the next thing, which is your skill power boost ratio, you have, for example, conditions that you need to meet for, like for me, for example, I'm using a fire unit and I'm emphasizing the dimension ability on him. So he's using fire skill power and dimension skill power boost ratio. So I need to make sure that whatever reactor I decide to keep, it's hitting both of those check marks, so I'm getting both of the multipliers there, right? Now, also on top of that, the last thing is the substats, which are going to be really important into what you're trying to get the character to do. So if you're, say, for example, like in my situation, I want to do more damage with my fire ability, and on top of that, I want a skill up duration, right? So that's allowing me to keep my flame zones up longer. So that's what I was trying to aim for. Now, I haven't gotten gold of both. Ideally, that would be like the god roll, is to get gold of whatever said stats you were looking for. But I got gold of the fire skill power, which that is going to be on par to some degree of a module, right? So it's really powerful and really impactful. This like can literally skyrocket you from doing X amount of damage. Like say you're doing 4 mil, it can jump you up to like 6, 7, right? Like it's absolutely insane how much this can impact your character. And again, that was just kind of like a random number, but just to kind of emphasize that importance, right? Now, of course, when you're also talking about reactors, the main thing that you have to also understand too is that you're not just going to be farming one reactor, because remember, one of the optimization conditionings is that you need to have a specific weapon mounted. So whatever weapon that you are currently using or you're starting to further invest in, you have to also consider that as you are building your account, right? Like, so for example, for me, I'm using the Nezestros, but then let's say I'm also going for like the Enduring Legacy. I need to also pre-farm or start to at least consider farming Enduring Legacy reactors as the mounted weapon. Now, in order for you to also navigate this as well, and we're going to come back to this in a second, we're going to also go to your map, right? Now, when you go to your map, there's something, there's a button. If you're on controller, you can just hold and press when you get to the map, the right analog stick. It's going to take you to difficulty level rewards. This is basically where you can search, where you can farm for the week your reactor. So throughout the week or every week, if I'm not mistaken, this should rotate. And the important thing about this is that this is going to direct you to where you can go. So for example, let's say I was looking for Enduring Legacy, which is general rounds. And then I'm also looking for, say, Dimension, right? It's not this week, right? So I wouldn't be able to farm that this week. So you have to kind of keep an eye out for each rotation. And this is something that I know a lot of players have been missing. if you are like in a position where, say, it's not your week for a specific character, maybe start try farming maybe another gun or farming for another character so that you're not missing, or then when it comes up, you're now sitting there trying to scramble to farm and then like, oh crap, they're not this week either, right? So for example, I would need general rounds with dimension. There's neither, right? So that just kind of sucks for me. If I was going singular, then I'd be able to farm that with the corrupted zone, and then bada boom, bada bam, we're done. But this is the screen that you're going to become very familiar with. Each week, you're going to check this, see what's rotating for your character specifically that you are investing in. Again, you change it to general rounds in this tab. Here, you can actually decide, like, say you want fire, you just isolate it down to fire. And then, of course, you can, like, if you want to narrow it down anymore, you could do that. But I mean, it's only like 2 options. So there you go. Cool, right? So that's basically like just the entire scope of understanding reactors, right? Again, key points. You want to make sure that you're farming, reactors for more than one weapon. It's fitting your element. And you're also meeting all the conditions, as well as finding ones with the gold stats that you possibly can get. If it has gold and purple, that's perfectly fine. Now, I also, moving on, going into the external components, I want to show you the value of gold stats, right? Now, this is where we start kind of getting more into the transitioning of understanding that these can be utilized as a replacement for mods. And this might kind of throw some people off because they're like, wait, how is that possible? Well, the thing about this is that a lot of the math and the numbers in this game isn't as straightforward as people might think. So let's take, for example, HP on my external component, and we're going to talk about the value here. Now, if we're looking here, you'll see that I have a max HP gold of 854. So in your head, you're probably like, well, if he takes this off, he's going to lose. If I show you my HP currently on this build, I have 10,856. And most people's head, they would say, oh, well, if he takes this 800 and something, HP off, he's going to lose that 800 and something HP. That's not exactly how it works. The way it works is that that stat is actually added into the base value that you have, and then it gets multiplied. So if I go and say, for example, I take this piece off and let's swap it to this one, right? Cool. And we go back, I don't lose 800 HP. I lose like 2000 HP, right? So that just kind of gives you that understanding, or like just kind of showing you that value of a external component, right? And this is also the same thing for your reactor. With those gold stats, it is literally giving you basically the equivalent value of a mod, right? And that is kind of one of the things that really, really shoots up the value as to why you need to be farming these, because it's going to be giving you the other half to your builds. Like, it literally is the other half to your unit. And so if you're not farming it, your unit is basically, I would say, entry level. It's not actually in game. And that's one of the things I think that a lot of people are maybe not coming to terms with yet, or just started to come to terms with. Who knows, right? But it does completely change the context of what you need to be doing and how you need to be doing it. And external components, specifically outside of reactors, you can get reactors from this same place as well. But primarily, you're going to be farming your void bosses for reactors, right? Or for external components because of the set bonuses. Now, the other thing too about this, and this is what, is kind of in conjunction to the value of external components, they can have set bonuses or set effects, okay? And with those set effects, so let me actually change this back so I don't forget, right? And then you'll see, again, go here, boom, right? Then max HP, back up to 10, almost 11K, right? So I lost almost 3K HP off of that, right? That's kind of insane. And same thing for defense. This is the same thing with defense. You take a defense mod off, you are going to feel that. Like this gold right here, for example, I'm at 20,671 defense. If I take this off and go to replace, and then we just put on, let's say even, I don't want anything else with defense, right? Yeah, so let's just do this one. Right, boom, I lose, right? So I go all the way down to 19,613. So that's like that's the thing, right? Like, you have to be aware of that because it heavily affects. So anytime you have a gold stat, just to kind of tie that entire idea together. Anytime you have a gold stat, it is going to be super, super important, right? Like it's going to literally be a very, very potent thing to whatever thing that it is being applied to. So just kind of keep that in mind. But again, back to the set bonuses, okay? The set effects, for example, like I'm going for skill duration because one of the things I need is to be able to keep my flame zones up. So that extra 5.7% on the 2 is going to be really nice. And then once I get this completed for the 4, my firearm attack is going to increase proportional to the ratio of max HP to HP loss, and up to 26%. And when HP is 50% or lower, MP recovery is minus 22%, but HP recovery is plus 16.4% for 10 seconds, and it's on a cooldown of 30 seconds. So ideally with the external components, it's going to be the same thing. You're going to have your external components that you'll use for combat, like for example, when you're fighting a boss or when you're farming. So you're going to have ones that's like more catered to that with like Cooper, drops, gold modifier, what else is there? There's module modifiers. You have, I think another one is for reactors, which is the item, I think acquisition one. So yeah, you're going to have farming sets for your external components, and then you're also going to have your ones that you use in like Void Intercept. And this is why, again, same thing, tying it back into your reactors. Like if you're fighting a boss, you're going to want things like additional damage against a colossal boss, right? You're going to want things that's going to give you, like, for example, skill crit rate or skill crit damage if you're trying to nuke more, or like if you're trying to use your skills more. So this ultimately gives you that value, right? So with the set bonuses in conjunction to the gold stats, purple stats even, I would even argue at this early in the game, for those of you guys that don't have as much time, is going to be crucial, right? Is going to absolutely be crucial. But outside of that, that's just kind of like a base understanding of external components and reactors, right? Like they're really, really important. They're going to start bringing out the extra value in your characters. And before I started like really diving into character builds, I wanted to make sure that I had these videos out so that you guys truly did understand, like, hey, I need to go and do these. Fighting bosses is going to be necessary. Farming the reactors is going to be necessary. Just as much as you're farming modules and trying to level modules, you need to invest into your reactor farming and as well as your external components. So again, guys, I hope that this video was able to help you guys, giving you a little bit more context as to what the value of this is and how it is literally the entire missing piece, or other half, I should say, to your character. So with that being that, guys, definitely make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. We should be going live soon. I've just been trying to farm on the game and trying to get through and progress. But yeah, we should be streaming very, very soon. So make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel. Everyone, stay blessed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.